You've heard of the expression figment of my imagination, but is your dream a figment or a filament? Most people see their desires as figments, ghostly, unreachable thoughts, but a filament is different. It's the physical thread in a light bulb that sparks a glow, the botanical stalk that supports the spread of new life. From February 25th through March 20th, Mercury retrograde is in Pisces and inviting you to stop dreaming and start reweaving. Now, I want you to think of Alyssa Liu. She walked away from skating at 16 years old only to return at 20 and win gold on her own terms, with her own music, with her own soul. This retrograde is your Donna Summers MacArthur Park moment. We're breaking down 6 ways to reimagine your soul purpose, from reorganizing your timeline to recalibrating your energy. Stop settling for a figment. Let's build the filament of your imagination. Let's dive in. Welcome back, Star Powered family. And if you're new here, aloha and welcome. I'm Leslie Tagorda, Hawaii born astrologer, author of the upcoming book, Astrology for Changemakers, coming out in September 2026, and creator of the Astrobrand Method. I light the path for visionaries, healers, and changemakers like you to attune to your strengths, purpose, and power written in your stars. If astrology, leadership, and real change through an uncolonized lens are your jam, click subscribe and let's dive in. All right, friends. Have you seen Alyssa Liu skating with her striped hair? But her face was just so happy as she was spinning and jumping and just like truly skating from the heart. Well, she won the Olympic gold in figure skating. And you might have heard from other astrologers or just watching the news, like she quit figure skating at 16, but figure skating did not quit her. It remained in her heart. And at only 20 years old, like how, like, you just imagine like being so young and so certain. She came back on her own terms. She indeed did not quit. She came back and she said, but I am going to do it my way. She chose all new music, like Donna Summer's 1978 disco. Like, all right, I totally am here for it. She chose her own golden flowy costume that really meets those lyrics from MacArthur Park. I invite you to listen to them. There is so Piscean. And she totally skated her heart out. And so this is truly one of these testaments to what it means for this Mercury retrograde in Pisces for all of us. What's in our heart that maybe we think that like has left us forever, or we quit it, or it disappointed us so much that we can now reimagine it and reclaim it in a different way, in our own way. And that's truly what this Mercury retrograde is asking for us. So, in today's short episode, I'm going to be talking about the difference between a figment and a filament, of why this is so important, the importance of the timing of this particular Mercury retrograde in between our eclipse and our Aries Ingress, the astrological new year. I'll also be talking about our Mercury process, all what it is to think, to express ourselves, and why Mercury in Pisces, even though it's quote unquote in its fall, is actually brilliant, beautiful, and extraordinary. I'll be sharing some of the key dates and the astro timing of this particular Mercury retrograde in Pisces. And lastly, we'll look at 6 ways changemakers like you and me can use this Mercury retrograde to reimagine your soul purpose. This weekend, we're in Mercury retrograde, the shadow period, right? And when we've been in the shadow period, we are starting to see the things that are need to be redone, rethought, recalibrated, or with Mercury and Pisces, reimagined. And so, I've been playing music for a really long time and I'm getting older in my career. But this year at the winter solstice, when I gathered with a bunch of my witchy astrologer friends in San Francisco, we did one of those 13 wishes things where each day from the solstice into like the new year, you wrote down your 13 wishes and you folded them up and you threw them into the fire each day, throwing one into the fire, so that on January January 2nd, you were left with one wish that was your responsibility. All the other wishes that you wanted, the universe was going to have your back, but this one wish was your responsibility. And the one wish that I had that was left with me, my responsibility, was the wish that says, I fall in love with music again. Well, I've definitely had my Alyssa Liu moments many, many times where I broke up with playing the clarinet, but I never, like, my clarinet is like my first love. I can never say no to it. And so this year I decided that instead of just being a little bit half-assed, meaning like if you're going to play a clarinet at the level that I play the clarinet, this means that I have to practice every day. Like, not just like, toot my horn for like 30 minutes, like do like, all of the scales, make sure I'm in shape, make sure I have all of the reeds. I'm going to practice every single day, and I'm going to listen to music out of love instead of just studying it. And I am going to feel confident, because the confidence in my music, you get as a musician, as anybody who has this strong Virgo, and Alyssa Liu has this Virgo, Venus in Virgo, there is this almost like perfectionism, this excellence that you keep on moving towards, because like you can never play it exactly how you want it. There's always something even better. And that used to really drag on me. And I would take people's critiques so personally and just think that I was like the worst player. But this time I was like, no, I'm going to come back. So we've had all these like recitals with my ensemble. We've been touring, we've been sounding amazing. And I've been doing a bunch of freelance gigs around town. And I was playing with my nemesis this weekend, my nemesis of 22 years. And the reason why this person is a nemesis for me is because they presented themselves as a friend 22 years ago, only for me later to find out that they were talking badly behind my back to other people. And I bring this up because I hold on to those things totally shamefully. I just could not let go after 22 years of this person bad mouthing me. Well, come to find out, this one gig, like I haven't played and sat next to this person probably in 15 years. This time I had to sit next to this person in orchestra. And I was like, okay, am I going to make myself freaked out? Because this person is not nice. And if you don't play exactly how they want you to play, they will like snap at you and like make all their faces. But this time I was like, you know what? I'm going to play my best. I'm going to play really confidently. I'm in shape. Like I'm playing really, really good right now. I got this. So 2 concerts, sat next to them. I mean, in an opera, you make all kinds of mistakes. It's totally fine. This person was getting so upset at themselves because they kept on making mistakes that I wasn't making, that I got to like save them. And in the last concert, there was this really, really hard lick that in the first concert I didn't get. In the second concert, I just told myself, I'm gonna totally get this lick. It was kind of like one of those, like in skating, it would have been like one of those triple pointers. I don't know what they're called, but just like a really, really hard lick. And I just told myself, you know what? I'm going to get it this time. And sure enough, this hard lick came. We both had this lick. I totally nailed it. This other person, not quite so much, even though this person prides themselves in playing so, so well. And I was like, you know what? At the end of the concert, they packed up right away, and then like they left. They weren't even like, hey, bravo, Leslie, good job playing with you or having fun. And like before, many years ago, I would have taken this so personally and say, oh, I suck. This person doesn't like me. They're never going to call me again, blah, 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 blah. All of the things just spiraling. And this time I realized, it had nothing to do with me. It had everything to do with them. I could sense that they were not happy with the way that they played or with the way that something turned out. And it wasn't because of me. Maybe it was because of me, because like I nailed a lick that they didn't get. And now all of a sudden the tables are turned. Who knows? But the moral of the story is that I've been having these giant realizations over the last few weeks while Mercury has been going through the shadow zone, that place where it's going to retrace that retrograde path. It's really got me to think about my my own artistic expression and how I think about myself and my level of excellence that I want to bring into the world through everything that I do. And so now I get to reimagine. And so what has been coming up for you in those things, those kind of nudgings of like, oh, this isn't actually how I perceived it. I actually know that this is a different way because this Mercury retrograde, now that Mercury is going to station and move retrograde on February 26th and 25th, for the next 24 days, a little more than 3 weeks, we are going to have that chance to reimagine. I'm calling this, yes, filament of my imagination, how to reimagine your soul purpose. And there's a reason for that. So obviously, I mentioned in the very beginning of this episode, is your dream a figment or a filament? A figment implies that it's unreachable. It's just this ephemeral thing. But a filament is different. A filament is a structure. It turns whatever's in your dream world into your imagination into reality, something tangible and solid. Well, not exactly solid because your ideas still have this presence, but it turns the imagined into present and reality. A filament happens in biology, it happens in physics, like with a light bulb, but a filament is a thread-like structure that turns the imagination into reality. Even the sign of Pisces with the two fish, those two lines that are like parentheses facing away from each other, are connected by a filament, that filament from the imagined world into our current real world. And so that light bulb moment, a filament, there could be many filaments, but it sparks inspiration. And in biology, a filament would be like that stem that like holds a stamen. And the stamen is a part of a flower where that it holds all the pollen. And that stamen elevates the pollen so that pollinators can get to that information and disperse it. Maybe pollinators are even the wind. And also in biology, the filaments, you can think of like a mycelial network. A filament is the connections, all that strands that's disseminating information. And so you can really see that the symbolism of this filament with this Mercury process, this mercurial process, but now in Pisces. I'll talk about that in a bit. I love the divine timing of this particular Mercury retrograde. The universe gave us this Mercury retrograde to reset, to recache, to rethink, to like just empty things out. Just like your computer or your iPad, you gotta reset that every once in a while so it can just like get rid of all of the old energy. Right? This is our time to get rid of all of that old energy so we can start anew. Now, I hope that during this last eclipse on the Aquarius new moon that you really had time to revision what is possible in your world according to your attuned astrology, according to where Uranus and Saturn and Jupiter are crossing your natal charts, and building a new vision of what's possible. Because now Mercury retrograde is like, okay, you have your vision. Now we can do some of the detailed work to reimagine, replan, reorganize our lives to fit in that vision. And this is divine timing because on March 20th, that is when the sun rebirths. This is our third new year, but to me, it feels like the true new year as the sun crosses Aries of 0 degrees and sets off the new astrological new year, truly a rebirth. And so we are in that liminal space between that eclipse where we did revision and say, like, what's possible? What is this vessel, this container of the year that we want to create? And then getting ready for the true rebirth at that Aries Ingress. And now in the middle, we get to reimagine. I wonder if your life is already working out this way. I know my life is already working out this way. I have a meeting with one of my Astro Brand certification participants who's going to be redoing our entire systems. I'm so excited so that I can plan my book launch. We're going to be 6 months out from the release of my book, Astrology for Changemakers. You know, the team that we have to build for this, the parties that I want to host, all the things. We need some big systems to reimagine. And then my friend Noelia, we had started this our app reimagining a few years ago, and now it's time. It's all coming back. So things are coming back, and it feels just amazing. So notice, right, what are also coming back, because that's a retrograde moment for you. Now, all planets go retrograde from our perspective here on Earth. Of course, you already know this. In the physics of the universe, there are no planets that are stopping and actually turning in reverse. It's just a matter of perspective from our place on Earth. Mercury laps us, right? Mercury is going so fast around the sun that it goes around 3 times. A Mercury year happens like 3 times for every like one Earth year. And so Mercury is the planet that it's in retrograde the most often. 19% of its cycle, Mercury is in retrograde. And that's wonderful for us because Mercury is our messenger to our consciousness, and it needs time to reset because Mercury's process is to think, right? That's the mind, the intelligence, to express, to communicate, to create dialogue, to rationalize. That intelligence, the logic, our mindset, the beliefs and the emotions that lead to what we think, as well as the way our thought processes, right? Working with so many people and seeing all the ways that Mercury can present in our natal chart, to think that there's like one way of thinking, especially you've heard me rant about educational systems before, where we label people as, neurodivergent or having differences. It's like everybody is different. If you look at a Mercury, you look at a natal Mercury, how fast it's going, what direction it's going, what sign it's in, how close to the sun, how the different aspects to different planets, you will see that Mercuries are so different, just like each one of us, our own thought processes, the way we think, the way we speak, the way our body's intelligence works is all different. Now, Mercury's process, obviously, to think and to express, but Mercury in Pisces is supposedly in its fall. Right. In traditional astrology, planets in different signs can be categorized as, in exaltation, meaning it's held up, or in its fall, meaning it's not in a good place. Well, my friends, I have a natal Mercury in Pisces. And yes, back when I was in, undergrad, I had this humanities teacher who asked me if like English was my second language because my writing was so terrible. Thank goodness it's not like that anymore. A little bit of work helps that. But I love my Mercury in Pisces because even though I might not be the best orator, funny that I have a podcast or a speaker, I lose my words all the time. My vocabulary isn't the best. But what I can do with my Mercury in Pisces is that I can channel, meaning I open up my heart and my mind to my spirit guides and I ask them to speak through me so that we can get to the heart of what people desire. My Mercury in Pisces is also helps me become a most beautiful musician. I love playing my clarinet. Obviously, I've been doing this since I was like 12 years old. I haven't ever stopped, ever like fully ever stopped. And it helps me really express myself in ways that words don't suffice. And so for everybody, Mercury in Pisces, even though in its fall, it's simply in its fall because it doesn't work in the traditional way to have everything rationalized, to be quick, to think, to be like super clear and logical. That is not Mercury in Pisces, but that's why it's so beautiful and brilliant, extraordinary. Mercury in Pisces, instead of just expressing to just communicate an idea, all of a sudden becomes dreamy and artistic and imaginative. Instead of Mercury just like rationalizing and getting to the data, Mercury goes beyond the data and starts to intuit a bigger picture, something that goes beyond what data is there just to show you. Mercury and just in Pisces, instead of just exchanging information, like, putting a phone call, creating a text, all of a sudden becomes a dispersal, an instant dispersal of information, all times, all places, just like the mycelial network. And so Mercury in Pisces, my friends, is extraordinary. And so for all of us, while Mercury is retrograding in Pisces, passing that place between of Pisces of 8 degrees and 22 degrees 3 times. Look at your natal chart. What house is that mostly contained in? Do you have any natal planets in that area that's going to get pinged? Do you have any planets that are in Virgo or other mutable signs that might get cross-wired a little bit? Or do you have any planets in the water signs that are going to feel fully supportive and fully imaginative? And so Mercury traveling through this space over, it's been going direct through the shadow zone since February 11th to February 25th shows you that first shadow zone as Mercury is going direct. And that again is showing us what things needed to be reimagined. Approximately on February 11th, around this time, Mercury entered the shadow zone at 8 degrees of Pisces. And so from February 11th all the way to February 25th, you can just notice how Mercury is moving forward until it gets to 22 degrees. Boop. Here we go. Okay. So notice now Mercury is coming to a almost a standstill. It passed Venus once. It started with the North Node. I should have mentioned that earlier. If we look back at the February 11th, Mercury was conjunct the North Node. And that's why I was like, okay, we're rethinking our soul purpose, friends. Just like how Alyssa Liu skates and I play the clarinet. It's just part of our path. Right. And so we're rethinking those things, reimagining what the possibility. Now that Mercury is coming into a station, it's going to pass by Venus one more time. So let's take a look really quickly. So watch Mercury go in retrograde again. Almost there. On February 27th, Mercury will meet up with Venus again. And so Mercury and Venus is really about expressing our love, our desires. And so Mercury conjunct Venus is about you rechecking your desires. What do you want? What do you value? Right. And so I love this. This feels like just a beautiful day to recommit to your values, maybe tell somebody that you love them, reclaim what you desire and what you want, and look at this brilliant trine to the Cancer moon on this day. Moving forward to Mercury retrograde midpoint. This happens when Mercury and the Sun meet together at the same degree. So on March 7th, we have the combust, where Mercury is in the heart or the eye of the sun. This is generally a day where we can get overloaded with ideas, like overblown. And, one of Pisces' greatest ways of momentum or movement is actually stillness. This is a day that I hope you have the time and the capacity in your schedule to just block it off and just notice. This is to notice and to be still is actually really powerful and potent and productive. And so, if there's one day, anytime during this Mercury retrograde to be still, please let it be this day. Magic happens during stillness, staring at the wall, putting your feet on the earth, on the grass, taking a nap. You will be surprised what inspiration gets downloaded on this day. Now, just the day afterwards, Mercury forms a grand trine with the Scorpio moon as well as Jupiter retrograde in Cancer. Now, to me, this is one of these big aha moment days where you understand where some beliefs have come from. Maybe these beliefs, you need to rewire these beliefs or expand them because they've been constricting you too much. But this is going to be a day of huge recalibrations, just total understanding, total meaning. Make sure you have your journal this day and write down all the thoughts that come through this day, because this is going to be one of those aha moment days as you reimagine. The next day that we're looking at is when Mercury meets Mars on the 15th. And so Mars and Mercury is taking action on your thoughts. Maybe this is a great day for writing or drawing or getting some creative work done. All of the reimagining that you've had, all of the notes that you've had, the ideas and the imagination that has sparked, this is your day to take action on them. So make sure on this day, on March 15th, you block off time to do some creative processing. Get that onto paper, make it into reality, become the filament on this day. And then fast forward to the 20th. Mercury stations again and goes direct. Boop, boop, boop. Notice that Mercury has met up yet again with the North Node. The North Node starting and ending our Mercury retrograde cycle. Mercury starting with the North Node during when Mercury entered the shadow zone, and now as it stations to move direct, Mercury again with the North Node. And so with the North Node bookending, this is one of the reasons why I'm calling this Mercury retrograde cycle reimagining your soul purpose. Just like I did, just like Alyssa Liu did. What has come through, what will come through for you during this recalibration? Now, Mercury won't completely be done with this cycle until April 9th, when Mercury now crosses and retraces back all of that all of the pathway that it reversed in. So April 9th, Mercury will leave the shadow zone, as it's called, leaving that space at Pisces of 22 degrees now to take its work. And so at the end of that shadow zone, as it's recrossing the shadow zone from 8 degrees of Pisces to 22 degrees of Pisces, this is where you're going to start to put your plan in action. And this is also when we will have, during that time, we will also have the Aries Ingress. So we will have our astrological new year. Isn't that just such beautiful divine timing? Okay, so the final thing that I want to leave you with today is I want you to take these 6 things with you to reimagine during this Mercury retrograde to help you reimagine your soul purpose, to be the filament. When we talk about channeling, you're really the channel. Like when I think about channeling my higher spirit, I'm the filament. It's coming through me. So what is going to come through you? So 6 things to reimagine during this Mercury retrograde for change makers. Number 1, I want you to reimagine what's possible. Are your dreams big enough? Are you allowing yourself to dream? Or are you putting yourself into somebody else's made up world? What is this world that you are making up now? Number 2, I want you to rethink your dreams. Similar to what I just said, are your, like, reimagine what's possible? Are your dreams big enough? But when you rethink your dreams, I want you to get to the heart of, what do you really want? This is your cue from Venus. What lights you up? What do you value? Who do you want to be surrounded with? What do you want to be connected to? You get to reimagine, just like Alyssa Liu did. And she said, I'm going to dance again, but nobody's going to tell me what song I'm going to dance to. Nobody's going to tell me how to dress. I'm going to do it my way from a place of joy. Like, how Venusian is that? Number three, I want you to reorganize your timeline. And what I mean by reorganizing your timeline is grabbing your vision that you did with the eclipse and understanding what's available now. There's lots of times where we think that we want a project, but it's just not the right time. Like I mentioned, I'm also meeting with my app developer next week. And I'm really, really excited because we're going to be revisiting a project that we literally started 2 years ago. It wasn't the right time 2 years ago, but it's available now. And so I'm here reorganizing my timeline, not based on, yes, based on what I want, but also what is available here and now. For example, we're reopening Star Powered Circle. I'm really excited, but there's going to be a lot of changes. And so, if you're interested in joining a community to build a global community so that you have friends, like minded friends, and change makers from around the world, and something that's really, really cost effective because the times are so different now, and playing with ritual, playing with astrology to bring joy into your life and understanding because you're working with other change makers just like you. Circle is coming back, and our opening ceremony is right after Aries Ingress on March 26th. So if you want to be notified when those doors open, head on over to starpower.com/circle and sign up for the wait list right now. Again, it's at a very affordable price point because I'm understanding what's available now. And so reorganize your timeline for the resources, capacity, and energy that you have available to you right now. Okay, number four, refresh your clarity. How are your thoughts now reframed? I am certain that you had some kind of like understanding of things that needed to get fixed and rethought of, just like how my music and how my relationship to music, my perspective of music and my quote unquote nemesis has changed over the last few days. What is that for you? Number five, I want you to rejuvenate your mind. How are you going to compassionately care for your mindset and for your journey? Do you need to book therapy? Do you need to take better care of yourself? Do you need to start a journaling practice? This is a really good time to clear your mindset, to rejuvenate your mind, and use those practices, those skills, get that support so that you can move on to the next level. If you've been feeling stuck in certain ways, this is your cue to go get some therapy. Number six, lastly, recalibrate your energy. You do not have energy to do all of the things on your to-do list. I know you don't. Don't force yourself. Don't hustle. But what you do have time for is to take aligned action. What does that mean for you on a day-to-day basis so that you don't burn out? Does it mean scheduling downtime? Does it mean taking naps? Does it mean scheduling a day out of the week just to do development or things that work on you? And so as you're reimagining your soul purpose, you also have to recalibrate your resources and your energy and how you're going to accomplish these things in your time, in your way. And so I'm really looking forward to this Mercury retrograde. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you're looking most forward to. Leave a comment wherever you're listening to this, whether it be on Apple iTunes or Spotify podcasts or even YouTube. Leave a comment, subscribe, let me know what you think. I'm really dedicated also to reimagining the future of these podcasts. So thank you so much for listening. I'm Leslie Tagorda, and I hope to see you soon. Bye. So thank you again. If this podcast has touched your heart, please share it with others. Please leave me a rating and review so we can reach the hearts of even more change makers like you.